Think animated shows are just for kids? Think again. In the world of adult animation, cartoons get deep, dark, and hilarious. Ever wondered what happens when a mad scientist and his confused grandson travel through dimensions, or when a washed-up horse struggles with life's biggest questions? Buckle up, we're diving into the most mind-bending and philosophical animated shows out there. And they're definitely not kid-friendly. Stick around for a wild ride. Adult cartoons are more than just fun characters and wild antics. They dive into life's deepest questions. Take Rick and Morty, for example, an eccentric, alcoholic scientist and his unprepared grandson hopping through bizarre universes. It's full of absurd humor and deep philosophical ideas about existence, free will, and life's meaning. Who knew an animated series could make you question everything while making you laugh? What makes Rick and Morty stand out is the mix of outrageous humor and existential dread. Take the Pickle Rick episode. Rick turns himself into a pickle to avoid family therapy. It's hilarious, but it also touches on self-doubt and avoidance. It's a perfect example of how animation can deliver big ideas with a side of weirdness and laughs. But Rick and Morty isn't the only show that dives deep. Enter BoJack Horseman, the story of a washed-up TV star who's a talking horse struggling with depression and addiction. BoJack doesn't just make you laugh, it forces you to think about the human condition and the dark side of fame. The characters are flawed and relatable, and that's what makes it so real. It's a perfect example of animation exploring complex emotions and adult life. BoJack Horseman is packed with emotional moments. In one scene, BoJack realizes his search for happiness might be endless, and it hits you hard. But the show balances its dark moments with sharp wit and quirky characters. From Todd Chavez, the optimistic sidekick, to Princess Carolyn, the hardworking manager, the humor comes from their flaws and unique ways of dealing with disappointment. What makes both Rick and Morty and BoJack Horseman so great is how they tackle real-world issues like mental health, family, and identity, all with colorful animation and off-the-wall humor. They show us the chaos of life, making us laugh, cry, and sometimes even learn from a mad scientist or a talking horse. Now that's next-level storytelling. But wait, there's more. What if I told you that adult animation isn't just about dark humor and mind-bending plots? Futurama is another prime example of a show that mixes deep philosophical ideas with goofy antics and futuristic adventures. Set in the 31st century, the show follows Fry, a slacker who wakes up 1,000 years in the future and must navigate life in a world full of robots, aliens, and unpredictable adventures. But don't let the sci-fi setting fool you. Futurama often dives into profound themes like time, life's fleeting nature, and the consequences of our choices. One of the most unforgettable episodes of Futurama is The Luck of the Fryish, where Fry goes on a journey to recover his lucky 7-leaf clover, only to discover a heartbreaking truth about his brother. It's a perfect example of how Futurama mixes humor with a sense of existential loss. At the heart of this episode is the universal theme of family and the sacrifices we make for the people we love. Sure, it's wrapped in a zany, animated adventure, but underneath, it's a poignant exploration of loss, regret, and the passage of time. Then there's Big Mouth, the animated series that brings to life the awkward, hilarious, and downright cringy experience of adolescence. But don't let the puberty-driven humor fool you. Big Mouth tackles some surprisingly deep and important topics, like identity, body image, and relationships. It's a perfect example of how animation can explore the messiness of growing up with a comedic twist. The show's characters, like the hormone monsters, give voice to the chaotic thoughts and emotions that many of us experience during puberty, making the show both relatable and laugh-out-loud funny. And then we have South Park, which has been pushing boundaries for decades with its raw, unfiltered take on current events, politics, and social issues. South Park might be known for its shock value and outrageous humor, but it's also incredibly sharp and insightful. From poking fun at celebrity culture to exploring themes of morality and personal responsibility, South Park doesn't shy away from asking tough questions about society and the world we live in. Plus, it's guaranteed to make you laugh at things you didn't think could be funny. Adult animated shows are like a whole new world where cartoons break all the rules. The hilarious antics of the characters are just the surface. Underneath all the jokes, there's a deeper commentary on society, the human experience, and our place in the universe. And let's not forget the sheer creativity that goes into making these shows. From the animation style to the unexpected plot twists, these cartoons take you on journeys you never thought possible. They take the limits of reality and stretch them to places you never imagined. The beauty of adult animation is that it has no fear of diving into uncomfortable or taboo subjects, things you might not see in traditional live-action films or shows. It's almost like the animated format frees the creators to tackle difficult topics like loneliness, mental illness, and the quest for personal meaning. Take Adventure Time, for instance. On the surface, it's a whimsical show about a boy and his dog in a magical land. But as the series progresses, it explores themes of friendship, sacrifice, and the complexity of growing up. The contrast between the colorful, kid-friendly visuals and the heavy emotional depth is what makes the show stand out. Adventure Time has one of the most well-rounded character arcs in modern animation. Finn, the main character, starts off as an adventurous, naive boy. But as the show progresses, we see him face real-world challenges, including self-doubt and existential questions. His relationship with Jake the dog becomes a metaphor for friendship and the idea of loyalty, even when life gets complicated. The show's emotional depth comes from its ability to address adult themes while still keeping that playful, fantastical vibe. Let's talk about The Midnight Gospel, a surreal and trippy animated show that explores deep philosophical themes while traveling through a kaleidoscopic universe. It follows Clancy, a space-traveling podcaster who meets different beings in bizarre worlds and discusses life, death, and the meaning of existence. The show is like a strange, mind-expanding journey where each episode feels like a dream, a perfect mix of weirdness and wisdom. The beauty of The Midnight Gospel lies in its ability to merge deep conversations with bizarre visuals, making the viewer feel like they've stepped into an alternate reality. The creativity of The Midnight Gospel is truly off the charts. The visuals are wild and unpredictable, constantly shifting to keep up with the complex philosophical topics Clancy explores. And while the discussions might get heavy, covering everything from mindfulness to the nature of the afterlife, the absurdity of the animation keeps it all lighthearted. It's the perfect example of how animation can take abstract concepts and make them more accessible, all while entertaining you with jaw-dropping visuals. Another fantastic example of a thought-provoking animated series is Undone, a show that blends live action with animation to explore themes of time travel, family trauma, and mental health. The main character, Alma, finds herself able to move through time after a near-death experience. As she grapples with the consequences of her newfound powers, the show digs deep into her struggles with her mental health and her complex relationship with her father. It's a dark, psychological journey that is both beautifully animated and emotionally powerful. What makes Undone stand out is its mix of live action and animation, blending surreal and real in a way that tackles deep themes. The visual style matches the tone perfectly, blurring fantasy with the harshness of everyday life. By combining the two, Undone uniquely explores the human mind, showing how animation can capture intense emotions. In conclusion, adult animation is more than just entertainment. It's a way to explore big, life-changing questions. Whether it's Rick and Morty questioning reality, BoJack Horseman teaching us about choices, or The Midnight Gospel leading us on an existential journey, these shows prove cartoons aren't just for kids. They're a place where humor, philosophy, and creativity give us a fresh perspective on life. So the next time you think cartoons are just for kids, remember there's a whole world of adult animation out there. These shows challenge your views, make you laugh, and leave you thinking deeply about life. They may be animated, but the emotions and ideas they explore are far from childish. They remind us that cartoons are about much more than funny characters. They're a raw, imaginative, and often brutally honest way to explore the world. If you enjoyed this dive into the world of adult animation, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling us your favorite animated show for adults. We want to hear your thoughts, your favorites, and what deep questions you think animated shows should explore next. Thanks for watching. And remember, the next time you watch an animated series, look a little deeper. There's more to discover than meets the eye.